Right, so good afternoon, and thank you for joining me now on this live broadcast. It is 1 p.m. West African time, and today I'll be talking about pursuing your vision. The concept of vision has always been a serious and an interesting thing for me, basically because I do realize that a number of persons are yet to come to terms with the value that they can draw if they know and pursue the vision for which they have been created to live. So today I'm going to be talking about how to pursue your vision, and I'm hoping that a number of people will join me online and here in the broadcast. So if you are coming online now, my encouragement will be for you to listen attentively and to also share your thoughts via the comment section and to also interact with me as much as time will permit. So today we're going to be looking at pursuing your vision. And like I said, the concept of vision is primary to our life. Unfortunately, not many do understand the power of vision, and not many do understand the value that they can draw from um, knowing and pursuing their vision. Now, because of that, a number of us just live life recklessly. A number of us live daily without any purpose. We live life without any function, without any direction. So I'm hoping that by this broadcast, I will clear out the, I'll attempt to clear our understanding as far as vision is concerned, and perhaps try to encourage us to pursue vision and to hold on tight to the visions that we have. Again, you and I know that there are people who have pursued vision and over time are beginning to get relaxed because either the vision has started to yield fruit or that they are tired of pursuing the vision because the expected fruit is not yet coming forth, it's not yet bearing the way that they expect that it should bear. Whatever your situation is, whatever your circumstances, my encouragement for you is to hold on dearly to your vision and run with it. Run with it because your life depends on it. Your life depends on the kind of vision that you pursue. And I'll share my personal story as we go along in this podcast. And I'm hoping that by relaying my own personal story, that a number of us will gain an understanding, will gain an insight as to as to how relevant the concept of vision is. So I encourage you, if you are online with me, please share this by doing a watch or initiating a watch party and um, sharing the videos to other persons and so on and so forth, so that people who have this challenge with vision will come to terms with what it means to have a vision and what it means to pursue vision. Again, with respect to that, you'll see on um, the left-hand corner of this screen a logo, and that logo simply is a logo for the company and non-governmental organization that runs side by side called Born to Lead. Born to Lead is an organization with the primary aim of developing leaders. Okay, we are of the firm belief that every one of us has been born to lead. We have the firm belief that every one of us has leadership qualities that are embedded in the inside of us. Unfortunately, not everyone recognizes this. Not everyone understands this concept. Not everyone pursues this concept. Therefore, we at Born to Lead mandated our own self to go around and train and teach and mobilize people to understand the concept of leadership and to also draw from within them those leadership qualities that have been hidden, that have been stored in. One of the challenges that we find in our globe and time at the moment is the fact that we like to shower blames on other people. We like to point accusing fingers at other persons. We like to hold other persons responsible for issues concerning our lives. And we forget that our lives are our lives, that we bear personal responsibility for the things that happen to us. Okay? So you may have poor parents, but that should not be an excuse for you to remain poor. You may have illiterate parents, that should not be the room or the basis for you to remain an illiterate. When you have come of age and you have come to the point of responsibility, you must take responsibility for your life. You must know that there are generations after you that are waiting to see you proceed and to progress. If you blame your parents for not educating you, your children will also blame you for not educating yourself and perhaps for not educating them. That's the danger in which we live in. And that leads me to my personal story. Okay, in talking about vision, I am the first of 7 children. And when I was born, my father was a corporal also in the Nigerian Air Force. My mother was a hospital attendant. Um, and so there wasn't much resources, or there wasn't much room, or there wasn't much reason for them to educate me. Okay? And eventually I had siblings, 6 of them all behind me. Now, at that time in the Nigerian Air Force base, particularly in Kaduna, that's for those of us who are Nigerians and following me, you know where Kaduna is, or should have heard of the name Kaduna. At that time, it was fashionable for parents to have lots of children and yet fail to educate the children. The reason and excuse being that their salaries were meager, and so they couldn't feed the family well, how much more sending children to school. So most parents neglected sending their children to school. A number of them who made effort simply sent the children to skill acquisition centers or some form of training center. Some even boldly took their children rather to workshops, where carpentry workshops, to mechanic workshops, to other places. Some just taught their children how to farm and farm manually. But for my dad, he thought differently. He made it a point of duty and responsibility not only to send his 7 children to school, but also to send his wife to school. So as I was growing up and being in the primary school, my mother was in the secondary school. We were running school side by side. I was When I was going to secondary school, my mother had graduated from a teacher's training college and had gone to, or from a teaching college, secondary school, and had gone to a teacher's training institute, a higher level than that. All of this was done by my father's salary. It was meager. It was meager, but the man was determined to educate every one of his children, including his wife. Not only that, my school fees at one point when I was in Baptist High School in Jos, a mission school, my school fees for a term was usually much more than my father's 3 month salary. That was how tough it was. Yet my dad was determined. He was um, he was visionary enough to insist that every one of his children went to school. And every one of us in the home got educated. I'm a lawyer today, 23 or 24 years, haven't been called as a lawyer. Yet I have younger ones who, the least being the person who attended the polytechnic and has a HND in the polytechnic. Yet as at that time, it was not fashionable to educate people. But my dad, looking ahead, being a visionary, determined to educate every one of us, and he did so and did so effectively. Okay? Today, he's at peace, he's at rest, because even though we do not have much resources to send back home to him, to feed and to clothe and to house himself or whatever, yet he is satisfied. He's satisfied by the fact that all of his children are educated. He's satisfied by the fact that all of his children know their direction in life. He's satisfied by the fact that no one comes home begging him to feed him or her. That's the power of vision. Right now, I have got friends, people who we began life with, and that were my mates at the time we were growing up, who right now address me as sir, not for anything, but because they consider that I'm a few steps ahead of them. Of course, there are others who are far ahead of me, but there are so many others whose parents did not take the risk to educate them, to elevate them, to to elevate them educationally. There are some who are, again, doing menial jobs, my mates, and I keep wondering 10, 20 years from now, what their lives will be like. And the reason being that their parents then were not visionary enough to educate them. Your case may be like that, but let me encourage you that even though your parents did not educate you, even though your parents did not send you to school, as it were, you can rise up by yourself to do things better. You can take up the challenge to be visionary from today, to set goals for yourself, goals that you will attain in the next 5, 10, 15 years. You can write them down and pursue them, and you will be educated. That reminds me of the story of two young men. I had the privilege of being the youth leader in my church many years ago. And because of this issue of education, I kept pressing as hard and impressing it upon the hearts of people to be educated. And I remember a young man who walked up to me and said, well, he had been challenged by a program concerning education that day. And he thought to educate himself. And he shared with me his story, which was that his parents never educated him, not even to primary school level. He was the first of many children. So he thought he had a responsibility at that point, having heard that program, to begin to think ahead and to educate himself. So he approached me and asked what should be done, and we had a discussion with him. And then he was working in a liaison office where he was paid only 10,000 naira. Then 10,000 naira was not more than $5. Okay? But he was willing to educate himself. He was willing to educate himself. So what did he do? He decided, we discussed with him and we decided we'll get for him a private teacher. Someone that will not cost much, but will educate him through the primary school curriculum in 2 years, and then thereafter transit to the secondary school curriculum, and let's see how far we can go. And that thing began about 10 years ago. All right, that session began. He went through the primary school education in within a year and a half or so, because he's so interested in learning that everything was crashed for him, and he got the basics. Okay, he attended those lessons every day for a whole year without resting. By the second or third year, he had already started the secondary school work. And by the fourth year, he was ready. From the moment that we began this thing with him, from the fourth year, he was already ready to write WAEC. He wrote WAEC, and guess what? He's a graduate today. He went through the University of Abuja and had become a graduate. Why? Because he had taken the challenge to look ahead, to see a better future. And in the better future, he saw being educated as the stepping stone to arrive at the destination, or to drive to the destination that he required to drive to. Okay? So that for me is a huge challenge. And you know, there are so many out there who are already giving one form of excuse or the other, claiming they were never sent to school, their parents never educated them, and therefore they had stopped to educate themselves. That is wrong. You've got to be visionary. You've got to move ahead. Now, let me ask you this question. Where will you be in 10 years from now? Do you know? 5 years from now, what point of life do you think you would have arrived at? 15 years from today, looking at your life, where do you think you would be? Now, if you are unable to answer those questions, it simply says that you do not have a vision for your life and you are not pursuing a vision for your life. Every visionary person plans for his or her life well ahead. Of course, there are natural forces that will from time to time tend to realign our plans. Okay? There are forces along the way that we cannot project right now, that we cannot see. But the truth is that if we are determined and we plan for the things that we require to happen to us 10 years from now, 15 years from now, the truth is that every force of nature begins to conspire to help you. Every force of nature begins to conspire to help you. About 3 years ago, my initial 10-year plan had exhausted. And when I went back to the plan and looked at the plan, a majority of the things I had written on paper had come to pass. Many times, not consciously. Not consciously. I didn't consciously pursue them. But because I had written them down, they had been written on my heart. And every time I needed to do certain things, I was driven in that direction. Right now, I've written out a 10-year plan, okay? And the 10-year plan began 2 years ago or thereabout, and will end in the next 10 years. And the truth is that on the 10-year plan, one of the things I have done was to write that I wanted to speak to about 1 million people at a single time. At a single time. And when I did that, one of the interesting things was I now got an invitation in a radio house to teach leadership. Okay? The coverage of the radio house is that it covers about 4 states in Nigeria, and that the number of people who had followership for that radio station was about 15 million people. 15 million people. So at that point, I probably had spoken to at least 15 million people without necessarily knowing. Okay, without necessarily knowing. But that is written down in my plan. And my plan is to hold that on a consistent basis. And I am certain with the things that I've aligned that will happen. That will happen. So you've got to be a person of vision, and you've got to write down your vision, because every vision has an appointed time. Every vision has an appointed time. Whatever you write is difficult to be erased from your heart. Okay? A popular writer says the faintest ink is sharper than the wisest brain. The faintest ink is sharper than the sharpest brain. Which is to say that whatever you tabulate down, whatever you write down, will constantly serve as a reminder than the thoughts that you keep in your mind. Again, you will bear me witness that there are so many things you have thought about many years ago that right now you have forgotten about them. Those were visionary things. Those were perspectives that should have helped you grow. But because you didn't write them down, they are things forgotten by you. But the things that you've written down, anytime you go back to them to look at them, what happens is the fact that every time you look at them, they remind you sharply of the things that you thought of a few years back, a few days back, and so on and so forth. If you had a dream and you woke up and wrote out the dream, the fact is that 10 years from now, when you go back to that paper and look at the dream that you have written out, you will remember the dream as the day in which you wrote out the dream. Okay, so um, this is the advantage of writing out your dreams as you need or as you go about in life. So write out every dream that you go about in life. Maybe one week. What then is this vision that I'm talking about? Okay, and simply your vision is an image of a better future. That's what a vision means in layman's word. Okay, is your vision is the picture of an expected future, of a better and expected future. That's what a vision means. Okay, and you must know that your vision is your own. It cannot be that of your father, it cannot be that of your wife, it cannot be that of your friend. Every one of us must own a vision for ourselves. Okay? And if you own a vision for yourself, nobody can pull you away, nobody can distract you from that vision. Okay? Now, so in knowing what a vision is, you must know that it is what you want to achieve, what you want to accomplish, what you want to enjoy during your lifetime, the kind of future that you envisage and anticipate for a better life. Pursuing a vision has to do with creating a legacy, leaving a legacy behind for others to follow. Last Saturday, I talked about how to leave a legacy. And one of the things that I talked about was the ability to train people, the ability to train people while you are alive, to transfer it to people while you are still alive. And the other factor is the ability to live it out. Okay? To live out the vision, to be a living testimony of the kind of legacy that you want to leave behind. And you cannot leave a legacy that you want to leave behind except you begin to envision it and begin to pursue it even by way of vision. Okay? So that's what it means to have a vision. That's what it means. To have a vision is to envisage leaving a legacy behind. Okay? Now it is important to make sure that your vision is powerful, that it inspires you, that it energizes you, that it motivates you to continue to strive for things that are ahead of you. That's the goal. Every vision that does not motivate you, every vision that does not inspire you, every vision that does not push you, okay, even beyond your limits, that vision is not worth pursuing. That vision is not worth pursuing. My encouragement is for you to dream of things that are by far bigger than you. And let me challenge you, okay? You may have a vision. You may have a goal that you've been pursuing. My challenge is, can you multiply that goal, that dream, that vision by 10 times? And note that if you multiply it, every fraction by which it is multiplied will come to pass. Most of it in your lifetime. We never reach our maximum as humans. There's no human that has reached his or her maximum. There is no sufficient time to reach your maximum at any point in time. And let me give you one reason why I say so. Science has proved that at our death, we leave millions of brain cells unused. We leave millions of brain cells unused. What does that say? Or what should that say to you and I? That should say to you and I that there are millions of dreams and ideas, there are millions of things that we could have done that perhaps out of fear or out of laziness or out of procrastination, we have been unable to mobilize. We have been unable to mobilize and maximize those dreams and visions within us. So my encouragement today is for you to multiply your vision at least by 10 times, or if you like, by 100 times much more than you have dreamt of. Now, how do you come about a vision? How do you come about a vision? Or what are the things that should motivate you towards coming about a vision? How do you dream of a vision? The first is to ask yourself, what do I want, or what kind of life, or what do I want to be known of when I leave this world? What is that thing that I want people to remember about me when I have left this world? If all things were equal, all things were balanced out, if I didn't have need to struggle for finance, if I didn't have need to struggle for anybody's attention, what is the thing that I would want to be known of when I have left this world? Please note that within that thing lies your vision. Within that dream, within that kind of life lies your vision. And let me make it clarity, okay? Because a number of people will be thinking, then what will be the difference between vision and purpose? There is a clear distinction between a vision and a purpose. Your purpose is your life goal. The purpose is the reason for which you were born. The reason for which, regardless of whatever you achieve, if you do not achieve it, you are considered a failure. That is what purpose is. Vision, on the other hand, is purpose broken down in miniature sizes, in smaller sizes. That's what vision is. So your purpose is the overall goal, the overall reason for your living. That's what your mission is. That's what your purpose is, rather. Your overall reason for living. While your vision is breaking that purpose into smaller units and achieving them stage by stage. So, like I just mentioned, I have a 10-year goal. I have a 10-year plan written down on paper. Now, the 10-year plan written down on paper, once it is achieved and the 10 years is done, okay, I will set another 10-year plan and pursue it. Now, what that helps me do is that it brings me closer and closer to fulfilling my life's purpose. Everything I've written down on paper represents a picture of my life purpose, but it isn't complete. It isn't the completeness of my life purpose. It is just a stage, a phase in pursuing my life purpose. So that's a huge difference between purpose and vision. And I do hope that it is sufficiently clear. Okay? Now, again, you may ask, like I've been saying, what are the things that can help you understand what your life vision is? The other question you need to ask yourself is, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? What is the dream that takes you to bed and wakes you up very early in the morning? What is that thing by which you think through the entire day at intervals? Things that, regardless of what you are doing, your mind is focused on those things. What is that dream that keeps you up late at night and wakes you up very early in the morning. Whatever that dream is, whatever that goal is, whatever that target is, note that your vision lies therein. Note that you are challenged because your vision is contained in that thing that makes you stay up late at night, makes you wake up very early in the morning. Another thing is to find out what is the thing that takes most of my time? What is the goal that eats up most of my time? Unfortunately, for some of us, it's our mobile phones that eat up our time, and nothing on our mobile phones other than going social media. Nothing on our mobile phones other than playing games. Now, if that is your case, I would like to tell you that that may not be your vision, except if you are able to convert the time that you spend on your mobile phone into something meaningful. That meaningful thing may be in the mobile phone. Okay? That meaningful thing may be found in the mobile phone. Now, unless you dig it up, unless you know the thing that you spend your time on, unless it is a thing that drives you towards a progressive future, towards a better future, you may just be wasting time and energy. After all, how do we know what you love? We know what you love by the time you spend on anything. You cannot love business and spend much of your time playing. It doesn't tell us that you love business. You cannot love business and yet read romance novels all the time. It doesn't tell us that you love business. What you love most is what you spend your time most upon. And that is one way to discover what your vision is. The other thing is to find out, how does my current work drive me towards my dream and my goal? Do I love my current career? Because there are so many people who do careers that they do not like. There are so many people who spend time, who spend resources, who spend energy pursuing careers that will not develop them. In fact, what they tell themselves is that we're in this career so we can gather money to go and do what we love doing. No. Note that your vision does not lie in that career if you do not like what you're doing. If you do not love the job that you are doing, if you do not love the career that you are into, your life goal, your life vision does not reside in there. Not at all. What are the other ways by which to discover your vision, your life vision? One way is to find out what you spend money on. Okay? To find out what you spend money on. What do you spend the most of your resources doing? Time and money are resources. What you spend your time on tells us what you love the most. If you spend your time meaningful on any particular thing, it tells that your goal, your vision, your life vision is in that thing. Likewise, if you spend your money on certain things, every time you see, for me, for example, everywhere I go and I see leadership books, whether I have the resources or not, unconsciously, I pick up the material. If it is a place where I do not have money and they can allow me go with the book to pay later, I simply go with it. I simply go with it. Why? Because my vision and of course my life purpose lies in teaching people about leadership. First, in knowing what leadership is, in understanding what leadership is, in providing what leadership is, and then in teaching and developing people towards leadership. That's the vision that I pursue. And so it doesn't, it's never hurtful for me to spend money buying resources concerning leadership. I've attended several online seminars with monies that I barely gathered to attend the seminar, all on leadership. I've bought so many books on my shelf. There are so many books on leadership. Some I've just read 2 pages, some I've read through and through. But the bottom line is I have so many books on leadership on my shelf that I have lost count of how many books on leadership that I have. The reason being that that's where my life goes, that's where my vision lies. So, what you spend your money on will tell you what vision you are pursuing. And there are certain things that we think are visions that are destructive and are not helpful. What other way can I identify my vision? If I knew failure wasn't an option, what would I attempt to achieve or do with my life? That's one way to find out your vision. If failure wasn't an option, what is the thing that I will spend my entire life doing? What is the thing that I will spend my resources doing? What is the thing that I will spend my time doing if failure wasn't an option? If I had all the resources in the world brought to me and kept in a safe for me to spend the way that I choose to spend, what will I spend the rest of my life doing? That should help you, or that should give you a glimpse, that should give you an insight about what your vision should be like. One other way to discover what your vision is to ask people around, what will they describe you, or in what words will they describe what you have been pursuing? I hear a number of people make description of me. There are certain things that I do not even know I have been doing. Last week, Thursday was my birthday, and a number of people sent messages to me. Okay? A number of people use words that I would never have imagined myself doing those things. But when I read the words on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, I sat down at a moment to reflect, and I discovered through unconsciously I've been providing those services without necessarily knowing I was providing those services. So one way to discover your life vision is to find out how people will describe you. What will they say that you have spent your life doing? One other way to find out what your vision should be or what your vision is to ask what your ideal or perfect day will look like. What your ideal or perfect day will look like. If your perfect day or ideal day will look like or will mean spending time reading books, then you must discover what kind of books you read and what lies in there for you as your vision. If your ideal day will be playing golf, okay, find out from that golf what does it mean in relation to your vision. Okay, so finding out how your ideal day will go will determine what your life vision is or what pursuing your vision should mean to you. Okay, let me also say this. Haven't discovered your vision. Again, because a number of us keep downplaying this concept of vision, we do not understand how serious the issue of vision is for every one of us. Perhaps let me spell out some of the things that you can attain or achieve if you know your vision. What are the advantages of identifying my life vision and pursuing my life vision? What are the gains? What are the benefits? What are the pluses that we see in relation to people who have a vision versus those who do not have a vision? The first will be that if you have a vision, you are inspired. You are inspired. Your 24 hours can never be a waste because daily, you have something that inspires your life and gives you motivation to live your life to the fullest. So the first thing, the first benefit for those who have a vision is the fact that they are inspired in life. The second is that they are energized. They are energized. Anyone who is inspired easily gets energy. There are so many businessmen and women who have discovered their vision in life, and what you discover about them is that they are hardly tired. They are hardly tired. They constantly search for business opportunities, and every time an opportunity presents itself, they are jumping onto the opportunity. The richest black man, who is a Nigerian, Aliko Dangote, has several businesses. He's now into oil and gas. He's into pastry. He's into cement. And he has cement factories across Africa. He's into sugar and so on. So many other things. Sometimes I sit down to think, how does this man coordinate everything? But you know what? I've realized that because that is a vision he's been pursuing, he never lacks energy to pursue those things. He's granting interviews. He's teaching entrepreneurs who want to learn. He's presenting papers at several places. He never seems to be tired. Why? Because he is energized by the vision that he has. He is inspired every time to come up with something new. And that inspiration energizes him to bring to pass those things that he's inspired about. So people with vision not only get inspired, but they are energized. The third point is that if you have a vision, you are guided in life. You are guided towards your purpose. People who have a vision are able to quickly make decisions as to whether to say a yes or to say a no to anything. A man who is an MC, and that is his life vision, is inspired not only to do that, but is inspired to make decisions as to what programs to attend and what programs not to receive invitations for, or what programs to turn down the invitations for. The late Miles Monroe, I had listened to him on one occasion, and he said there are years that thousands of invitations come to his desk. People he's never met, people he's never known, seeking his attention to go and teach them. But that because he has vision, he knows what programs to go for and what programs not to go for. There are only about 365 one-quarter days in a year. And if you receive an invitation for every day, you will break down. Therefore, vision guides you to know what day to attend an invitation or to accept an invitation for, and what day not to attend or accept an invitation for. In fact, your vision guides you to know what friends to work with, what friends not to work with, or what people not to work with as friends. So people with vision are guided. They are guided in terms of their choices. They are guided in terms of their decisions. They are guided in terms of programs to attend, programs not to attend. They are guided even in terms of their education. If your vision is to be an entrepreneur, then you have no business, okay, attending to people who are inviting you for a party or disco party, trying to just waste energy and strength. Or that when you have an invitation for a party and you have an invitation for an entrepreneurial training, you already know what you are choosing. You already know what to go for and what not to go for. So people who have a vision are guided. People who have a vision know the why for doing things. Simon Sinek, I wrote this in his book, Start with Why, or so. Something on starting with why. Okay? I've forgotten the exact term of the title of the book. But when I read that book, I got seriously inspired, such that before I begin a venture, I ask myself, why do I need to do this? Why do I need to do this? Knowing your why for everything determines your how and determines your what. So people with vision know their why. People with vision know their why. Yesterday, I had the privilege of meeting a young entrepreneur, a young builder, okay? Someone who goes into joint ventures with owners of land. So he develops the property and they share or sell the houses and then share the profits depending on what their arrangements are. And a friend of mine wanted him to buy a piece of land. And almost immediately, he turned down the opportunity to purchase the land. And when we were leaving, the friend was talking about the fact that, oh, this guy had just missed an opportunity. And I said, no, the guy knows his why. He knows why he's into the business that he does. He knows what to do and what not to do. Okay? He's not interested in owning a land. He's not interested in buying and developing a land for himself. He's interested in developing other people's lands and sharing profit rather. He's understood the logic, he's understood the principles behind that kind of business. So to take him away from those principles into a new terrain can be dangerous for him, and that's why he's quick to turn it down. Why? Because he understands his vision in life. He understands what target he set for himself. So people with vision know their why. People with vision are unstoppable. They are unstoppable. We know the saying that water will always find its course. That's the same thing with people with vision. They will always find their course. They will always find their direction. Any person who knows or has a vision cannot be stopped. There is no obstacle that you place before the person that can hinder the person from making progress towards the direction that he or she is determined to pursue. In fact, people with vision always see every obstacle as a challenge. They always see obstacles as stepping stones to the next level of their growth. People with vision always see challenges as opportunities to circumnavigate or opportunities to know or to push them towards the direction of their goals. So people with vision cannot be stopped. They are unstoppable. For every challenge, for every opposition, for every issue that arises against them, they are constantly thinking it's an opportunity for growth. And that leads me to the next, which is that people with vision always grow. Always grow. People with vision always grow. And maybe on Saturday or next Wednesday, I'll make an effort to do a teaching on growth. Because again, I realize that for the absence of vision, a number of us do not grow. Okay? There are those who have their vision but do not grow at the pace that they ought to be growing. So I'll make an effort to do a teaching on how we should grow. But note that people with vision, not only will they be unstoppable, yet they consistently grow. They may not be growing so very fast, but they grow. Each day they take a step closer to the goal, the plan, the vision that they have set for themselves. Like I said earlier on, I have a 10-year vision, I have a 10-year goal plan that started just 2 years ago. Okay? And every day I wake up from sleep, I'm making effort to review my goals, to review my plans. And there are days that when I read through the plan, okay, when I read through the plans, I see that I've achieved certain things without necessarily, without deliberately going out of my way to pursue those things. But because they are written on paper, they are written in my heart, I simply find myself driving in that direction, sometimes unconsciously. So people with vision constantly grow. If you're not growing, perhaps it is time to make a review to find out if you have a life vision, if you have a vision that you are pursuing. Also, people with vision have focus. I just mentioned that because you have vision, you are unstoppable. Because you have vision, you are focused. Okay? You are focused such that when obstacles arise, you do not spend time lamenting over the obstacles. You do not spend time dwelling on the obstacles. If there are issues that you can resolve, you resolve them immediately and focus on the direction that you have set your mind towards. So people with vision are focused people. And because they are focused, they know where to be, at what time to be there. They know who to befriend and who not to befriend. They know what books to read and what books not to read. Because they are so focused, they know what program to watch on the TV or when to even watch a TV. And by the way, in reality, I used to think this was a joke, but I've come to realize how true it is. People with vision do not spend much time watching television. They do not spend much time watching television. There was a time I could hardly do without watching the news. But I've come to realize, I listened to a teaching from, I think it's from TBJ, okay? And he said something about watching the news and cutting off from watching the news. And I attempted it. And you know what? I became saner. My sanity returned when I stopped watching the news. Again, that does not mean I avoid news completely. No, I just speak details or bits of details here and there from my mobile phone, or when I'm driving and I listen to the radio, I listen to news. Okay? Now, if you begin your day by listening to the news, you end up your day a depressed person. And I challenge you to try it. If you begin the day by listening to the news, whether on TV, on radio, you will end up the day being a depressed person. Because you and I know that it is negative news that sells. And that most of our media houses never say anything positive. They simply look for holes, they look for failures, they look for disaster, and they broadcast disaster. And when you begin your day listening to the news and listening to disaster, your day will end up being a frustrating day. I've tried it. I now understand. I tell people, I've listened to the BBC for over 30 years. For over 30 years. And you know what? Most of the time that I listen to the news, I discovered that I ended up being a bit depressed. So there are times that I listen to news, not early in the morning. And I'll challenge you to do it. By the way, there is nothing new under the sun. Since I was born, up to date, Israel has been fighting Palestine. They will fight tomorrow, next week, or thereafter. Nothing has changed, for at least for me, in the last 48 years, as far as that scenario is concerned. So what is new about Israel and Palestine fighting? Nothing is new. There's nothing new. Ever since I've known myself, or I've come to the point of responsibility, US has been at loggerheads with Russia. And it will continue next year. Nothing new will happen concerning that relationship. And there are so many other news in that manner that have been the same over time. And every time it happens, we are made to think that something new has happened. No, it's the old things that are being repeated. And that drives us away from our vision. But people of vision have focused mind, focused mentality. They know the direction at which they are driving, and they focus their attention on those directions. When you know your vision, when you understand your vision, you know when to say yes and when to say no to certain things, and they are wholehearted. Okay? Now, having tried to help us gain or understand the benefit of knowing our vision, let me just state that every one of us needs or requires a personal vision. A personal vision. Okay? And to draw up your personal vision, let me leave you with the following assignments to do. Just in case you haven't taken time to find out your vision. First, find a quiet place right now or after this broadcast. Sit down where you can be by yourself. Get some writing material. A quiet place that you can sit for the next 10, 15 minutes, and it's not difficult to do. Somewhere away from people, away from the noise of the crowd. Sit down by yourself, and having done that with your writing materials, begin to envisage what kind of future you want for yourself. Using the steps as earlier pointed out, if everything were to be provided for you right now and you didn't need to work, what are the things that you would be doing? What is the kind of life that you would be pursuing? What would you want to be remembered for? In the next 5, 10 years, what do you want to have on ground as achievement coming from you? What are the goals that you want to see unfold through your life? Do that, okay? Take them down and be serious about them. And I can tell you that when you do that, okay? When you do that, you can be sure that you will know your life vision. You can be sure that you understand what vision is all about. And I'm hoping that as you do that and know what your vision is, that your life will be smoother henceforth. Thank you for your time with me, particularly for those of you who have spent your time, your data, and your concentration listening to this broadcast. I appreciate you, and I thank you for giving me your ears at a time like this. Again, let me say this like I've said earlier on. Born to Lead is an organization that is focused on helping individuals develop their leadership ability. Deep down in the inside of every one of us is the ability to lead. First, to lead ourselves, then to have influence over our environment, and then to have influence over people. If you belong to, again, we do seminars from time to time, which I'll soon be advertising as we go along. Okay? If you belong to an organization that you want individuals to also learn and to understand, there's a scroll bar rolling just beneath this broadcast. Check out our email address. Check out our social media address, our page. Check out the phone numbers there. You can make calls, you can make appointments, and then we would be obliged to come train your organization or even train your family. Okay? Because we do that, we train families as to how to allow or enable everyone understand his or her leadership capabilities and to unfold that. You will agree with me that it is easier to lead leaders than it is to lead followers. It is easier to lead leaders than it is to lead followers. This is my encouragement to every one of us. Thank you for the time spent with us, and I pray that this time has not been wasted. If you have any suggestions as to how to go about this broadcast, please feel free to write in our comment section. I would go through the comments and make adjustments where necessary. If you have suggestions of topics you want us to treat, please feel free, write a comment, and we will check the topic, particularly as it relates to leadership, and then we'll come up with a broadcast concerning that. For now, I will take a break, even as I thank you for joining me and thank you for the time. See you on Saturday. Please feel free to join me on Saturday at 12 noon so we can continue talking about some other things. And this Saturday, what I want to try to do is to teach us how to be extraordinary persons. So we're moving from being ordinary persons to extraordinary persons. There are 4 or 5 steps that can help us become extraordinary persons. And I hope that at that time you will be with me. Thank you and have a good day.